Okay, welcome Hardrocker fans. This is our last coaches luncheon of the season. It's always bittersweet. I can't believe the next time we meet we'll be talking about football already. That just doesn't seem right with basketball just getting over. Coaches will come up and talk. Just news from the Hardrock Club. Jeep raffle, we were 10 tickets short of selling out. So 989 tickets. The Saturday morning after the Black Hills State game, I got to make a really fun phone call to an alumni who's in the Hall of Fame. Her name is Dr. Lisa Zocker. She is an 85 grad in chemistry, and she had to decide between the Jeep and $15,000. So she kept saying the whole conversation, I can't believe this. I just can't believe I won. So that was a good phone call to make. She has decided to take the Jeep. She is going to ship it down to Florida where she lives. And so we're in the process of getting that done for her. So, but the Monday after our the Hardrock Club, I didn't happen to be in the office, so thank goodness for Sandy. Our phone was going wild, and people wanted to know who won. So we put that on social media. So that's who won the Jeep. I think Steve has a couple athletes going on. He'll talk about them. You know, our basketball season, from where we were rated preseason to where we ended up. What a great year. I mean, it's always hard to end because it's usually a loss, which is kind of hard to absorb sometimes, but what a phenomenal season. Two great basketball teams, and Coach Jeri in her first year, and of course Coach Eric in his second year. What they've done with those teams has been really, really fun to watch, and I think all of you fans have been really entertained this year. Lastly, thank you for your support of the Hardrock Club. Hardrocker Athletics, coming to our lunches and just being part of what we do. I'll miss you guys until next fall, but then it's always fun to see everybody again. So anyway, with that being said, Coach Steve, come on up.
All right. Well, thank you. And first off, congratulations to the basketball teams on a great season. That was really fun to watch. And I gotta say now, you know what high jumpers feel like? We say in track and field, there's only 2 events that always are guaranteed to end in failure. Same thing when you get to a conference tournament, right? Somebody's got to lose. So, no, it's been a really, really good indoor season for us. And first off, I have to thank you guys for your support. It's always a long season when we roll, especially for our distance kids, when we roll straight from cross country to indoors, and then we're going to roll right into outdoors. We have our first outdoor meets the end of next week. So nothing ever stops, but it all happens. It all goes smoothly because of the support that we get from you guys. Indoor conference went really well for us. We knew on the men's side we weren't gonna rank real high this year just because of some red shirts that we had going on and such, but I had to make notes here because I knew I'd forget people otherwise, so bear with me. I swear I'm not Facebooking or anything right now. West Sea Draft was the first points on the board for us. He got points for us in the men's weight throws, finished 5th. He also had a PR to boot with that. Then our men's DMR came out, and they got a point for us. Not bad for a group of guys that weren't expected to score in that event. And then in the high jump, we figured with 3 guys in, we should get some points somewhere. We just didn't figure it was going to come from the guy with the lowest mark coming in. I should have known. He did that to me the last time he went to conference too. Wyatt Kynes had a great day. He finished in a tie for 6th, and almost didn't make it into the meet. He was actually ranked 21st on the descending order list, and when the declarations finally came out, he was 17th out of 18 accepted entries. So really, really good performance from him. He did what you expect from your upperclassmen. He stepped up, he made adjustments at the right time. He gives me heart attacks pretty much every time at a conference meet because he's what we call a 3rd attempt jumper. Meaning, it doesn't matter if the bar is an easy height for him or a massive PR, he's not going to jump well until it's his third attempt. He ran under the bar at one point, you know, at which point every high jumper there is just doing this over, you know, those kinds of things. But that's what conference meets are about. It's about who shows up on the day. who gets things done when it counts, right? And that's what makes conference meets kind of special. Is you never really know what's going to happen at a conference meet because you don't know who's going to have a bad day. You don't know who's going to step up and surprise you. On the women's side, we actually set a new high point mark for the women's team with 22.5 points. Most of that came from two ladies. Most of that came, of course, you've heard about Erica Keeble winning the conference title. She broke her own conference record. At the time that she jumped it, at that moment in time, she moved to number 2 on the national list. She's actually number 3 after the weekend shook out. But had a fantastic day. Almost cleared the next bar she went to as well. She was jumping. She cleared 13.7 and was jumping at almost 14 feet, which is where the men started, to give you a little bit of perspective there. And then on top of that, her teammate, Cameron Scully, came in. Cameron was ranked 7th coming in. She finished, not only did she finish 5th, she set a PR, she jumped 12 feet, and she hit a provisional qualifying mark. So, you know, I've told you all year that Cameron's going to be that next one coming up, and she's starting to show that right now. So it's really exciting. I gotta find out from our pole vault coach what the next poles are she's going to need. So we got to get that figured out. Make sure that we have what she's going to need as we move forward. Because I bought her 3 new poles at the beginning of the season, and she's already an expert on them and blowing through them. So good problem there. And then basically right at the same time as that was happening, Jayla was over in the weight throw, and she got into finals. She wasn't ranked real high in the final, but came out with that big final throw, that throw that you just expect a senior to make, and she ends up finishing 2nd in the weight. Next day she comes out, she finishes 8th in the shot as well. She wasn't even ranked in the shot. So fantastic day from those two. And then Macy McClure also set a PR in the weight throw. And so really we had a pretty good meet. We were really happy with the way things turned out. We knew, like I said, we knew we weren't going to be real high on the results. We were 9th on the women's side, 10th on the men's side, but we saw the things that we were looking for. We saw those people stepping up in key times and key situations and getting us those opportunities to score. That at the end of the day, that's all you can ever do is try to put your best on the board. Where we go from here? Tomorrow morning, Erica and Jayla are leaving for nationals. I'll tell you, one of the fun parts of this job is trying to figure out how you get pole vault poles 20 hours away from you. Turns out the answer is southwest. You know, we actually have to get the poles down to Denver, and then we can just pop them onto the plane that goes oversized baggage, and we're off. It works pretty well, apparently. So we're going to give that a try. Hopefully it goes as smoothly as it's supposed to. Jayla will compete on on Friday afternoon, and Erica competes on Saturday. So right now Jayla is sitting 18th in the weight throw. We didn't really know for sure if she was going to get in. We were kind of waiting for things to come out. We knew the weight throw was pretty stacked this year. What they do so at D1 and D3, they make it real easy to figure out who's going to nationals. They say if you're in the top 16 that get declared, you're in. Done. At D2, they say we want, I don't remember the exact number, it's like 240 athletes at the meet. Okay, so they base everything off that 240. They say ideally there's 16 per event, per gender, and then they fill based on strong events. Well, it turns out the 2 strongest events on the women's side this year are the pole vault and the weight throw, which happen to be the 2 that we got people into. So they took 20 in the weight throw, they took 20 in the pole vault, and so it should be a really fun competition. It should be good to watch. I know Brad's got the links up for how to watch that through the NCAA's live feed as well. And then, as soon as they get back, next week, we start our outdoor season. And the plan right now, weather permitting, is we're going to make a run down to Texas. We're going to leave on Wednesday evening and go down to Canyon, Texas, compete there on Friday, and then hopefully catch a meet in Boulder on our way back up. So Outdoors is really short for us. We only have about 5 weeks to get our qualifiers for the conference meet. So things move really fast and we have to be on our toes because we never know, of course, when that next winter storm is going to come in and force us to change all of our plans. Questions?
What's the date of
Our meet is scheduled for April 10th. And if you're interested in helping, we're always looking for volunteers. So. Other questions? All right, thank you.
Congrats to those two, that's awesome. Great accomplishment. I'm still blown away by Erica Keeble learning pole vault when she got to college. And then I also just want to say thank you to all of you guys. We didn't have a luncheon right after our Black Hills game because we were on the road. That was an incredible environment. Unfortunately, we don't play in front of that very often, so I think our girls were a little rattled by all the people in the stands. So hopefully we can continue to grow our crowds, and I just want to thank all of you guys for your support all year. It makes a huge difference, and they enjoy playing in front of people. So when you get people in the stands, it's a lot more fun. Also want to say congrats to the men's team. It's been a really fun season. My first year traveling with the men's program. We both survived. Didn't get too mad at each other. But it was a lot of fun, you know, celebrating each other's successes when we were on the road, and also staying and watching them when we're at home too. So very exciting to be part of 2 pretty successful programs on this season, and really appreciate Coach Glenn and Coach T for everything they do, and being so easy to travel with. Means a lot, makes it a lot easier. Much like Steve, I had to make notes of everything because we've got quite a few accomplishments that happened this season. I believe in the preseason we were picked 13th. As soon as it was released, I already forgot about it because preseason rankings don't matter, but we were picked 13th, and we ended up getting a 6th seed in the playoffs, and I think that's a huge testament to the hard work that our players put in all year. They bought in to what me and Coach Seibrandt brought to the table. I've talked all year about my seniors. I think I'd be over it by now because we've been done playing. But those 4 seniors made a huge difference. And they're why we went from being picked 13th to getting up to that 6th seed. You know, we had the most conference wins since joining D2 with 13. And a lot of those were really close. The ones on the lost side of that record were really close, and so it's just part of the learning of learning me learning them. I wish I could have got them a little bit more, so we're still playing, but still very proud of their efforts this year. Some of the accolades. We had 3 players named to the RMAC team, all RMAC team, and I think that is a huge testament to our program. When you have 16 teams in the conference, and you get 3 players named to the RMAC All Conference. We had 2 players on the first team. The only other team that had 2 players on first team was Westminster. And for those of you that watch the game, you can probably see why. They're pretty talented. But Anna Hogan and Ryan Weiss. Very excited for them, very excited for their hard work that was validated by the coaches in the conference voting them. And then Sammy Suffolk getting honorable mention. You know, Sammy's stats weren't always as flashy as other people's, but Sammy was a huge rock for us and really did whatever we needed her to do, depending on the game. I mentioned all academic first team when they were announced, but just saying it again, recapping how great of a season we had. Anna Haugen and Ryan Weiss were all academic first team, and then Michaela Shackley, Melissa Johnstone, and Sammy Suffolk were all academic honor roll. You know, going back to the seniors, Sammy Suffolk had a school career record for most 3-pointers this year. She holds the record in that. And she joined the 1,000-point club. So it's exciting to be a part of. And then along those same lines, Anna Haugen joined the 1,000-point club on senior night. Great accomplishment for both of them. Just shows how great of careers they've had here. Anna was, kind of makes me sick looking at the stats. 1 rebound away from tying for 4th all-time. So Anna is 5th all-time rebounder for our school history with 929, I believe. She's just a rebounding monster. I'll never forget the Dixie State game when she had 19 rebounds when we won in overtime. It was Very impressive performance. And then Ryan Weiss has the school record for most threes in a season with 98. That number is only going to grow the next couple years. Once we get working on more stuff and creating her shot off the dribble a little bit more, she's going to be getting over 98. Again, just awesome first season. Tell people I'm living in a dream right now. I got a great group of girls, and they played hard. A lot of people, I just have to brag on them a little bit. Sheesh. Thought I got them all out in Westminster, but I didn't. You know, you can make excuses, and we played with ridiculous injuries. And not once did we make an excuse. They found a way. And that's probably, I would say, probably 4 or 5 girls on our team. Push through those injuries, you wouldn't be able to tell it, minus all of the gear they're wearing. But the way they play, they just pushed through, they toughed it out, and they found a way instead of finding an excuse. Very proud of them. That does mean our postseason looks a little different, because we're going to be working around all of their injuries and their doctor's appointments and trying to get them all healed up and healthy. But I'm excited for who we have coming back. You know, Michaela Shackley really stepped up this year. Her last game at Westminster, she went 4 of 8 from the 3-point line, which that's not really Shaq's strong point of her game. You know, she's more of our defender, but very proud of the way she finished the season, and I know that she's just going to keep rolling next year. You know, Ryan had a great season. Excited to have her back. You know, Naomi, I've talked about Naomi all season, our post player. I'm excited for her in her sophomore year. You know, she's now played a year in the RMAC, and she's going to do some serious damage next year. So we've got a really good group coming back. Also talking about the future a little bit, we have 3 signees who have committed. Bailey Johnson from Central and Juno Jones also from Central. And they both play on Casper College's team right now. And very proud of them. They won the Region 9 championship last weekend. So they are, this week they're headed to Texas to play in the National Junior College Tournament. So extremely excited for them. They're both been a huge part of that. And we're excited to have them come play for us and be Hardrockers next year. I think it'll add a fun aspect of having local players on the team, but also players who are going to make a huge difference right away. And then our other commit is Maggie Smith. Her mom actually started out her career at South Dakota School of Mines as a lady Hardrocker. So she was familiar with the school, and I watched Maggie quite a bit when I was in Idaho, so we're excited to have her come in. She's a very good shooter. Obviously, I like shooters. But we're excited about those 3, and then we also have a couple more that we're trying to sign in this spring as well. Coach Seibert and I are taking off again tomorrow. We went and watched Casper College last weekend, and then we're taking off tomorrow to go hit up some state tournaments. So continue to build, so we're just going this way. You know, we don't want to take any steps back, and I think with the crew we have returning, I think we're going to do just that. Any questions for me really quick? Okay, well, oh.
What was your favorite part of the season?
I think my favorite part of the season was Colorado Mines, at Colorado Mines. Being down so far and then scoring 15 points in a minute and a half to get us right back in the game. And just seeing their faces, you know, in that first quarter there was a lot of distraught, oh gosh, we're going to get out of this hole type of faces, and by halftime everybody's face was different. They had looks of determination, and they fought back from a huge deficit, and we ended up winning, and that was one of my favorite things, was walking into the locker room and just seeing how excited they were. In the off season, we'll continue to work. I'm going to work on getting better pregame speeches. Clearly my pregame speeches don't get us pumped up for games because we got in those big old holes, and then halftime, I've got halftime down. So that'll be my job in the postseason, is trying to figure out how to get them pumped up a little better for the start of the game and not just the third quarter. With all that being said, I want to bring up my assistant, Coach Mike Seibert, just to talk a little bit about himself. He's a huge reason why we had the success we had. So, Coach, get to know him a little bit.
I'm Mike Seibert.
vibrant, like she said, originally from Broken Bow, Nebraska, so right in the middle of the state is where we're from. And I went to school at Nebraska Kearney, and I coached at different high schools and colleges the last 20 years or so. The last college I was at was Northeastern Junior College in Sterling, Colorado. And then I was at Upper Iowa University in Fayette, Iowa before that. And that's kind of where our connection came from. I worked for her college coach, so it's kind of neat to see the similarities between their programs and differences too. So it's good to see how as a young coach she's grown and where she came from, because I see where her program comes from, because I worked for Coach Russell for a year or two anyway. So anyway, it's been a blast this year. I've had a great time. The staff has just been great. What a welcoming group. The whole college has just been an easy transition into this year for us, and we couldn't ask for any more for that. It's just been I'm so grateful for that forever. And the girls, it's just, you can't ask for any better girls than we had. They're just so ready to go at all times. So we appreciate that. Anyway, that's all I have.
Hello, everybody. It's obviously it's a bittersweet time to be up here. That's the thing about basketball is that when you get to that last game, it's extremely final. And you just, as I told our guys after the game, I said, well, I wasn't really ready for my goodbyes yet. So it was a brief speech afterwards in the locker room after the Mines game. Since the last time we've met, there's been a lot going on, obviously. We've had 2 Black Hills State games and a semifinal game in the conference tournament. And the 2 Black Hills State games, obviously the one at home, just totally ripped our heart out for about 10 hours. Then we had to get back in the flow of things. But I was really proud of our guys' resilience to be able to bounce back Tuesday night, to go up there to their place. They were celebrating, obviously, being co-champs of the conference. A couple of accolades for a couple of their players and their coach and stuff, which is well deserved. But I think for our guys to be able to go in there, and we did. We had a great environment. I thought we traveled extremely well. I really appreciate the coaches asking their athletes to come up and support us when we were up there, and the fact that other people that showed up. It was just a tremendous sight, and to see that gym filled up again was nice, because I think the last 2 times we've played up there hasn't been students around because of either like spring break or Christmas break or something like that. So it's been kind of a quiet game up at Black Hills both times that we played up there. So it was kind of nice to go in there, and we've done well though. We have traveled well with people, so it was good to see. And the game itself, I just thought we really took control of the game from the beginning, and I think I felt really good about where we were at from the beginning, and we just never really let off the pedal with them. They tried to make a couple runs at us, and each time we stepped up, we made good defensive stops, and then we tacked on a couple offensive possessions to get the lead built back up each time. So that was a really good thing to see for our guys, and just the belief, after you get a game just so close, especially before that on Friday, to lose to a team like that. And sometimes, a team can lose belief in themselves, and I didn't think our belief system dropped one bit. I think if anything, it probably strengthened their resolve, knowing that they could come out on top. Our game, and then going down to Dixie, I really think it's a deceiving score. I didn't think we played that bad. Bottom line is we just couldn't put the ball in the hole. You go back and watch the film. Again, I was looking at it in a couple areas where I thought maybe we weren't so good. Actually, we weren't that bad, and we actually got a lot of really good shots. We put the ball in the guys that have carried us all year long, and unfortunately, it was one of those nights where collectively we just didn't shoot the ball very well. And despite that, I was telling Joel and Roger as I watched it because we had to wait in Rollins, Wyoming on our way back to 2 days to get back. So I ended up watching it, and at about the 7.5 minute mark, we had a stretch where we had some great defensive stops, 4 consecutive stops, as a matter of fact, sandwiched by 3 offensive possessions where we actually missed basically 2 layups and a wide open 3. And if we hit those 3 shots, and I know you say ifs and buts, but if we hit those 3 shots, in spite of how poorly we shot it, we were right there. And if everything plays out the same, it's a 1-point game with about a minute and a half to go. And who knows what happens in that instance. So it was a lot, like I said, a lot closer game than it looked. One thing I definitely know is that we belong there. We look at watch the teams that play, and we match up with them well. And I know when we're clicking and we're playing well, we could beat any of those teams there. Unfortunately, it just wasn't our night. And that's the way it works. That's the way basketball is sometimes. And it was hard to see the look on our guys' faces because you know that they wanted it. And it just didn't work out for them. But in the end, you know, you look at the entire picture of everything that they accomplished, you know, really with this group, because they've all been together for 2 straight years, they've accomplished a lot in 2 years' time. And going all the way back to when we started last fall, talking about some of the things we wanted to improve upon, specifically our defense. You know, I think we were ranked 10th in the league in points allowed, and then below that, I think in field goal percentage allowed, and I know in 3-point field goal percentage allowed, we were second to last. And so that's kind of my segue into some of the things that this group has accomplished this year. It's just been incredible. On the defensive side, we were first in the league in points allowed at 68 points a game. We were 4th in defensive field goal percentage at 43%. We were second in 3-point field goal percentage, right? Which is the biggest stat I think that we've really accomplished over this time at 33%. We were 3rd in defensive rebounding, and we were 4th in rebounding margin. And so right there, all those things put together is why we had the season that we did, in my mind, when you're able to do that. And then on the offensive side, obviously, we really had a great offensive year also. We were 2nd in field goal percentage. We were 2nd in 3-point field goal percentage. And we were 5th in free throw percentage as well at 75%. So to be able to do those things, and another stat, I didn't even know it was a stat they have on our site, they have defensive field goal or free throw percentage. I didn't know you could defend a free throw, but we were number 1 in defense. Teams only shot 66% against us. So that's, I don't know, Coach T must be doing something behind my back. So we're going to have to keep doing that right there. So no, I think those are just tremendous stats for us, and I think it's, as a lot of our guys and seniors in the locker room said, that we commended them as seniors of being great leaders and helping us set a new standard for Hardrocker basketball. And they all challenged the guys coming up now that, hey, the bar's been set. This is what the expectation is every year now. And so that's something we're going to continue to strive for. Along with it came a lot of accolades and some records. You know, some of the things we did, we set a school record for hitting 19 threes in a game against Texas A&M University International. We had our first win over Augustana, and I know for sure in the D2 era, if not overall. Our first win over Colorado Mesa in the league. First time we've had a season sweep of Colorado Mines, and held a 3-game, dating back to last year, is a 3-game series. Our win streak over them. It was our first season to have a season sweep of Metro State, who is a traditional power in our league and has had a national championship teams. Obviously, it was our first RMAC postseason appearance. We got our first RMAC postseason win, and do it over Black Hill State makes it even that much sweeter. Yeah. We had 3 all-RMAC honorees, 2 second-team all-conference, and an honorable mention. And again, it's echoing off what Jeri said. If you have 3, that's really impressive in a 16-team league on that list. We also had the academic RMAC Player of the Year in Logan Ellers, which is a tremendous accomplishment. Alec Williams was also named to the all-tournament team when down in Dixie while he was down there for his performance in the semifinal game, which was great. So just a lot of great things. I might be missing a couple things, but those are things that really came off to me right off the bat. And just a tremendous year by this group. Our seniors are going to really be missed because of their leadership. They haven't really had, because we actually had to kind of push the reset button about 4 or 5 years ago with this transition. This group really kind of came in and was the group ahead of them. Now they had some seniors ahead of them, but not a collective group like we had this year. And they didn't really have a group ahead of them to really show them how to be great leaders. And so it's been a work in progress with them all the way through. And I just thought that was probably one of the biggest things that we had in our locker room was the leadership with them. All the way from, you know, obviously being probably our top performer, Alec Williams, who is not really a vocal guy, but really obviously plays with his effort and this in a style. And then you go through Logan, who is a great vocal leader for us. Just obviously he's a coach's kid, so I think that's probably a little bit of it. So he's seen it before, that style, but he's done a great job in our locker room of just saying things. There'd be times I'd come into the locker room and all four of those guys, and Tristan Vondita as well, and even Jack. You know, when Jack says something, you know it's important because he doesn't say much. So you know the guys listen when he speaks, and we would come in before games here, probably down the stretch, the last 10 games, and I'd already hear them just basically saying my whole pregame speech already, and I'd say, well, I guess I don't need to say anything. Let's go play. You know, and that's really nice to have as a player-led team like that when you have some seniors really step up. And it's been a long time coming, and now they've kind of set a standard for that as well now of what it means to really be a leader in the basketball program. So we're really happy for that. I as well have some thank yous. You know, when you have seasons like this, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people don't see. You just don't get that. If we don't have these people to give us this kind of support, then you as coaches are doing it, and a lot of times then your time from coaching and making your team better is going into other things, administratively and so forth. You know, so obviously, you know, Joel, it starts at the top with Joel as our athletic director, does a great job of, you know, getting things set up for us as coaches to really focus on being coaches and being able to coach our basketball teams. It is a big deal that we have the ability as coaches to spend a lot of time and put our focus into our guys the way that we do. And so for him to be able to know that and have that vision to get us going in that direction is really big. Our new addition is Cassie. I don't think Cassie's here today. You know, she did a great job of being her first year in here. She does a tremendous job with our game day operations. But she's also there. She's a former basketball coach, so she's a great person to talk to and bounce some things off and see what her perspective was on certain things. And she's been a really great addition to our staff. Anita, who's here, Anita, please stand up and take a round of applause. Anita obviously handles so many things for us. You know, I come home off a road trip, I'll have 30 receipts, I just throw them at her. Here you go, Anita. And she takes care of them all for me. So, you know, those kind of things are so important. And if I have a question about something, no offense, Joel, but I don't go to you, I go to Anita. So we really appreciate everything that she does. Seth, who is our new compliance guy, just stepped in. It's a really tough position because if you've never seen the NCAA rule book, you know, it could actually use as a booster seat for a child to see over the steering wheel. It's super thick. It's really ridiculous, honestly, but he's done a great job of stepping in and helping us out. You know, our strength staff and our athletic training, Brian Hardy leading our athletic training staff. Fortunately, we didn't have as many injuries as we did last year, and so we didn't keep him quite as busy, but he did start off with a major one in Mitch Suker early in the year, and he did a great job of getting him back and going. We did have some tweaks, some ankles and things like that. He did a great job of getting our guys going back and missing minimal time during the season. Colton Razzo, our strength staff, our guys love him. He's doing a tremendous job. You know, for last year, excuse me, last fall, I had so many comments of people, whether it was around here or even coaches in our league, like, what did you do to your guys? They look so much bigger this year. And it's because of what the job that Eric and Colton have done with our guys in the weight room. And so we still got some guys that we still got to get going, and this spring will be another big emphasis in the weight room for us. But those are things that have paid dividends for us, for sure, on the basketball floor. Colton has done a great job this year with that. Maria and Sandy, really appreciate all that you do. Obviously, going out and getting scholarships and asking people for donations and things is not an easy job. But we can't do it without scholarships, guys. It's a bottom line. And so if they don't do a great job in what they're doing, you'll see that reflection on in our squads. And so we really appreciate the work that they do for us and what you guys do to help them out with that as well. My assistant coaches, you know, they didn't really do too much, so I don't know if it was pretty, no, I'm kidding. I don't have Ron here. I don't think Ron came in today, but Roger, if you'll stand up, I know everybody knows who Roger is. You know, Roger and I have gone back since we've coached his son AJ, obviously, and stuff. And for us, how things worked out for us to kind of get this whole thing to work out for us last year was quite a story. But the thing is that we work so well together. The discussions that we have, we can actually really discuss and debate things, not have to worry about hurting one another's feelings. The relationship is that strong, and I think that's very important for a healthy coaching staff. And for your program to move forward, you have to have those things. And so to do what he does, the relationships he builds with our players, and the things that he does, if you don't know, he's kind of a little bit of a guru in the mental side of the game. He does a tremendous job with our guys with that, and our guys have really bought into the stuff that he's brought with him. And I think it's been a big thing for our guys in dealing with adversity, dealing with failure, and success as well. And so the thing is that we're really lucky to have him here with us. And you know, it all started, I guess, with AJ. That's the whole thing. Probably should be thanking Todd down at Lubbock Christian for sending that email the first time.
I'd say then thank Dr. Kirk.
And Dr. Kirk. Dr. Kirk was the selling point for sure. So, you know, I like to just bounce back to Jeri and Mike. You know, it was a great year. When we were going through the basketball process, I was just like to Joel, I was like, I don't care who you hire. I just make sure we can get along with them. So, you know, so he hired a Wolverton Wolverine, which I am as well, so it couldn't go wrong there. But no, it was great. The women's side, as we found out, we didn't know this was the case, but, you know, they kind of set the tone. If they win, we win. When they lost, we lost. So it was kind of a win-win for me because, you know, I could easily take credit for the win, and if we had the loss, I just blamed it on Jeri. So we really appreciate it. No, but they do a great job. Mike and Roger and all of us, we work together on the road with hotels and logistics with buses. We're one of the few teams that still travel together with men and women on the road, which I really don't mind because we have such great young ladies. They're a joy to travel with. And so that's a great thing. But there is a lot of logistics that go along with that, with shoot-around times, her game going on, and then bus coming back and getting us, take us to our game, and all those kind of things. And then, of course, nighttime rides wherever we're going and that stuff. So it's very important that we were able to work together, and they're so easy to work together with that. And I'm really blessed to have that as well. Like I said, the coaches, really appreciate all the support from all the coaches. You know, to see them and their athletes at our games is a very good testament of how close our athletic department is overall. We do support one another, and we do appreciate that as well. And last but not least is my wife, Lorna. Stand up, Lorna, if you would, please. Now, obviously, as a coach's wife, you are making a lot of sacrifices, and she has done that for 20 plus years. So, thank you very much. Love you. And last but not least is all of you. The last staff that we had, we moved up. I don't know if last year I think we were 10th, and this year we moved up to 6th in attendance in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. So kudos to everybody for getting out there. As Jeri said, we've got to keep going up. We're not far behind. We can catch Mesa there, and you know, I think we're at 701 average is what we were, and so I'd love to see that number, you know, get up close to 1,000 next year. That would be awesome to really fill the King Center for every single game. All right. Any questions for me? I know I rambled a long time, but it's the last time I get to talk for a while. So, yes.
Just quick, Mike, for men's and women's program. Thank you guys. It was a wonderful season. You guys enjoyed the watch. Let's bring in the witch doctor or something to get rid of the Friday night curse. But other than that,
Yes.
it was wonderful and fantastic to watch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How's your recruiting going?
It's going good. Matter of fact, I leave right after this. I'm out on the road. I'm going to dodge the coronavirus, and I'm going to go in the arenas and everything. We got some kids that we're looking at, and right away next week we've got 3 to 4 now.
7 total booked between now and
middle of April. But next week I think we have 4 coming in next week right away for visits and stuff. So we're excited about it. You know, be bad if we weren't, but you know, we really like the kids that we're on. Obviously, we need to replace a lot of size that we've lost, so that's going to be our main focus.
Going to New Zealand, are you?
And you know what? I talked to Logan's dad. He doesn't have one for me right now, but he's keeping his eyes out and stuff. But there are some good kids, some big kids that we're bringing in right away, so we're excited to get them in.
Yeah, they got good nucleus to come into.
They do, they do. Anybody else? Great, thank you very much for everything, appreciate it.
Well, folks, you know, you've heard me say our college athletes put in 85 hours a week, and that really doesn't even compare to, like, you know, what our assistant coaches do and what our head coaches do, the miles that they travel. You know, I was lucky enough to go along with men's basketball. One of the reasons I got out of coaching was long bus rides and going through Wyoming. No offense to anybody who's from Wyoming.
We didn't go through the good part of Wyoming.
Yeah, it was a terrible part.
There is a good part,
Yeah.
right?
That's the exit.
Yeah.
Come on.
But no, it's, you know, listening to the guys on the bus, the camaraderie that they had, brought back a lot of fond memories for me in coaching, and just reiterated why I do what I do, and enjoy it so much. You're making me cry. We've got a great staff. I can't thank enough, just reiterating what Eric said. I just kind of write stuff on a whiteboard and say, okay, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to do this, and they do it, you know. I am challenging you all that we should get attendance up. We should try to lead the RMAG in attendance in basketball. There's no reason why we can't. That atmosphere on Friday night with Black Hills State, and then Tuesday night. I've been to a lot of basketball games, and I don't know if there's a better rivalry in the country. I know there's not one in the RMAC, but I don't know if there's a better one in the country. I would like to publicly thank Matt Martin and President Rankin for paying for 200 tickets for our students to go up. They wrote a check so that our kids could get up there. If you were there, it was like a home game for us. I think we were heavily handed in them not making the NCAA playoffs. So kudos to the men's team. It's absolutely fantastic to be the athletic director at this institution. A big round of applause for what Maria and Sandy do in the Hardrock Club. They're not up front. They're not the kids. They're not the coaches. But without them, we can't survive athletically. There's just no doubt about it. So thank you to those who started the Hardrock Club, who had the vision of bringing the Hardrock Club and understanding why we needed it. And Eric's absolutely 100% right. If you go back, if we don't have scholarships, we can't get kids in. We don't get the pleasure of watching Alec Williams. We don't get the pleasure of watching Ryan Weiss if we don't have the scholarships. Erica Keeble. I mean, talent costs a little bit of money. So we're trending in the right direction. I plan on keeping us trending in that right direction. We've got a great project starting here real soon, which some of you in the room, I'll be knocking on your door and asking for some help, but we want to do a $200,000 weight room renovation with new equipment, new dumbbells, a paint job, and it's badly needed. That space right now needs a facelift, something that we can point to like Coach does with the guys in the weight room, as building our culture and moving us forward. It's a place where our athletes are in on a daily basis, and it's got to get better. Thank you. I'm sure I missed a lot of people. Love what I do. Love seeing what our kids accomplish. They're going to go on, and I've said this many, many times, they're going to go out and change the world, because a degree from this institution, in my opinion, is hands down better than 99.9% of what you get across the country. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for coming. And we'll see you in the near future. Appreciate it.